What's going on, good people? Well, it is Thursday at 6:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'm on the East Coast. Yeah, Thursday. Yeah. Random video on a Thursday when I'm normally working. Normally working Wednesday night, getting off Thursday morning. Yeah. Well, just look like I ain't been working. Yeah, I went out for a 3-mile walk, but I ain't go to work last night. Probably like, wow, what happened? Well, this is what I always say, that food service is not for the weak, and you can't allow upper management to treat you any kind of way, do you any kind of way, because if you do, they're gonna always do you any kind of way. If you allow it, they're gonna keep on doing it, and keep on doing it, and respectfully, you can voice your own opinion. That's how I say it, respectfully. A lot of people voice their own opinion and they come off disrespectful. At the end of the day, that's still your supervisor, that's still your boss, your manager, whatever. You just can't come off disrespectful. So, why didn't I work last night? Well, it started Monday afternoon when I got to work at 4:30 p.m. As I get to work, I get the key to the tractor, go hook up, do my pre-trip for the tractor and trailer while I'm waiting for my partner to get in so we can go ahead and start our day. So as you do your pre-trip on the tractor and trailer, of course on the trailer, you want to open up, I always open up all the doors. You know, we got 2 doors on the driver's side and then the 2 swing doors for the rear. So as I open up the door on the first door on the driver's side, it's supposed to be where the freezer and then the cooler and the rest of the trailer is right there. So as I open it up, you see the load. Normally in the first door, they're going to either put the whole pallet of freezer for your first stop, or they're going to put the whole pallet of cooler for your first stop. And they're going to section it off. So if they do the whole pallet of cooler, you'll see the cooler pallet right there in the doorway. And then right snugged in to the left will be a bulkhead for the freezer, vice versa. Well, unfortunately, the loader decided to, well, let's not mention, let's not forget that the fact that there were like 6 or 7 big, huge boxes, which is what they call to-go containers for Panda, that I guess when the selector was doing his rounds, selecting the stop, when he got to that slot in the warehouse, I'm guessing that there was no product. So in order for if there's no product, they don't sit and wait for one of the forklift operators to come and bring it down. They have to keep going because they're on a time limit. So they got to keep moving. So I guess they finished the whole entire, trailer, and then they go back, and before they close out the trailer, they go back and get all the shorts. So those were short. So instead of putting them on the back end of the trailer, they end up putting them on the freezer side because there's a little space in the freezer side. Then put a bulkhead. They put the bulkhead in the middle of the doorway. So when you open the door, you have on the left side these boxes are dry, and then right down in the middle in the door, you have the bulkhead. The bulkhead is what splits each compartment. Bulkhead, and then you have the pallet of cooler, which you only had a little bit of space in between. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I open the second door. Second door is always full because that stops later on in the route. It's always like the third or fourth stop, whatever. So when you open the back doors, you expect to have a good amount of room so you can at least get your hand carts in. Or maybe maneuver around where you can make room to get there. Well, I couldn't. As I opened the rear doors, I couldn't even get no hand carts in because on the left side, they had the pallets turned in a different way. So as they loaded the pallet was all the way at the end. I mean, right at the very end of the trailer. Then on the right side, you have all your chemicals. We call them smallware. All your chemicals for every stop. Chemicals, sodas, cartridges, all that stuff. I mean, it was packed all the way to the top. So I'm saying, okay. So I sent a message to the manager, the staff, because they was in a meeting. I didn't see them. Sent a message. I even included the safety guy because they always promote. These companies love to promote safety, but if you look at some of these trailers, when you're getting ready to hit the road, you don't even have room to put your hand carts in. Sometimes you might have to, even though it's not safe. I've seen guys where they have to stand on, cases to throw their dollies on top of their last cooler pallets. You know what I'm saying? So then when you get to your first stop, of course, you're not at a dock. You're at ground level. So now you got to jump up there, pull it off safely. That's unsafe. So like I said, these companies like to promote safety. So hit the safety guy up. I put him in that group message. First thing he tells me is, put the trailer in the door and I'll come help you put the hand carts in. First of all, I don't need help. I got me and my partner. But it's just the fact of, you guys like to promote safety. Safety this, safety. We care about your well-being. Furthermore, this trailer is loaded incorrectly. It shouldn't even be loaded like this. Look what's in the first door. So they came out after I've called corporate HR. They came out looking like, oh man. Even the warehouse manager, which you rarely see him. He even come out, he's looking. And of course, like I said, everybody always has an excuse. This is how I feel. When it comes to management, now these days, everybody has an excuse. Everybody has an answer. They're going to give you an answer just so you can shh. There's no, you know what, hey, let me find out who loaded that. I gotta get right on it. We need some answers, because you're right, that's incorrect. It shouldn't be. It's always something when it comes to pertaining, gonna come back to transportation. Guy tells me, yeah, you're right, it shouldn't have been like that. And like I told him, I'm telling them, if you move these big old containers out of the freezer and put them in the tail end, and the safety guy asks the manager, that's what we're running the warehouse, yeah, well, why they didn't put them in the back? There was no room. That's what he said. There's no room. There's no room in the back of the trailer, to put these, I think, 6 big old containers, big old boxes. I mean, they're big, but they only weigh like 3 pounds. You can basically just pick them up and throw them. There wasn't no room to put them back there. So where am I supposed to put my hand carts? I carry 2 and then my partner, so we have 3. I always want to carry multiples, because just in case you get a flat. A couple weeks ago we caught a flat, but it didn't stop us because I had an extra hand truck. So you even said it wouldn't fit back there. So I asked him, so how was I supposed to get the hand carts in here? They all looking, they don't know. So had one of the manager gets pull the platform, get into, look inside the freezer part where the bulkhead is split, finds a little area, move those cases out the way, just left them in the freezer for the containers, and I had enough room to kind of squeeze my 2 hand trucks in the side door. Just enough room. And I had to really push it in there because I didn't want them to fall when I opened the door. And then we had to maneuver the 1 hand truck to put in the very back. So that was done. All right, we get through the day. Go off Tuesday. They give us 2 extra stops to do before we hit our route. We get to the first extra stop. It came off nice and smooth. Other than that, it was starting to rain. You get to the second extra stop. Now, remind you, we've been doing these extra stops for the last 3 weeks because route hasn't been that heavy. So we get to it, and I'm doing the dry, and I see there's a pallet. Like I said, this is the second stop. There's a pallet in the way with dry on top, and there's refrigerant at the bottom, and they wrapped it. So I get all the way to the, I think I take in like 30 cases of dry. Then I get to the very bottom, come find out there's cooler. Well, that cooler down there is 66 cases of beef for all the Wendy's for the whole entire route. So they're probably like, the whole entire route? Yes, because what they call it's a bulk item. So what they do is when you go out with a lot of Wendy's on your route, they just bulk the beef out and bulk the ice cream out. And when you get to that store, you just scan one label. It tells you how many that store gets, and you just pull from that pallet and take it in. So that's 66. Now, mind you, I still had about 10 cases of dry to get to. That was behind the 66 cases. Behind that pallet. Now, mind you, we're at the second store. Second store. Out of 10. So, you call in. Of course, they have, these scenarios. Well, is there any way you can move it to the side, this and that? Yeah, but by us moving all this stuff and trying to make room, what's the compensation? See, that's the thing about it. They want you to do the extra work. They want you to have to clean up the mess from everybody else, but you don't get no compensation. Everybody else, if they clean up any mess, like in the warehouse or whatnot, you guys are getting paid by the hour. They're running hard. They're making extra money. But what's the compensation for us having to clean up the warehouse mess? So we had to go back to the store to get this stuff because we had to go to the next store first to knock that out so we can have an empty pallet space. Go way back to that store to deliver those 10 cases because we had moved the 66 cases of beef onto the pallet that was empty. So we delivered the 10 cases. Then we had to go back to another store where I found a case for my first stop. I found a case like a pallet behind. So we went back to that store. So we pull up to our second store. We did our first store. We pull up to our second store around, I want to say 11 something. We're talking about we're running 3 hours behind. It was one of those nights, heavy night. We were beat, so we ended up getting back yesterday morning. I got back at 9 in the morning. Now, remind you, I'm supposed to turn back around and go back out at 5. Now, my dispatch is at 5. Now, remind you, I logged out at 9, but you can't start until 10 hours later. So, it's going to take me off the schedule. I'm not finna go right back out onto the route because my Wednesday route is one of the heaviest and one of our heaviest route and longest route. Over 200 some miles, 10 stops, and it's a lot of driving in between stops. So if you don't get the proper rest, man, you're going to find yourself nodding off and all that. So, no, I said to take me off. Or when I don't have hours. I'll have to leave late in order, so I don't have hours. So he's like, all right. So my point is, do not let management put you in a bind, making you feel a certain way to work your route when you know you've got back late. You know what I'm saying? And you know you need a proper rest. Because some guys, some guys live an hour or 2 hours away. So if you get back, think about it, 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, we got back. My partner says it's going to take him 2 hours to get home. So by the time he get home, it's 11. You shower, maybe eat something, go to sleep. Probably lay down by 11:30, 12 o'clock. And then you talking about getting up, turning back around, getting up at 3. 3 to be to work at 4:30. Like, no, you don't get no rest, man. But I'm telling you, these companies won't say anything. They'll allow you to do it. So the way I look at it, you're just a number. So you have to be very smart when you out there, man, and you run into problems. Where if you got a breakdown, trailer messed up, and you getting back late, oh, dog, man, hey, yeah, I know, and we all there trying to make the money, man, but don't let that money, you chasing that money, chase you in the ground, chase you into getting hurt, maybe falling off the ramp, or maybe falling asleep behind a wheel and hitting somebody because you're working with just 2-3 hours of sleep. Nah, man, that's nah. Nah. I always tell anybody, man, if you get back late, super late, and they want you to move your dispatch later, and nah, man. Nah, because once you move your dispatch later, it's just a domino effect for the rest of the week. Because best believe it's going to be another problem the rest of the week. It is. So I took the day. Most people are like, oh man, shit, heck no, I ain't doing it. I gotta get this money. Well, go ahead, dog. But the minute you have an accident and it's your fault, the minute you hurt yourself on that ramp and it's your fault, do you really think they're gonna be like, you know what? Yeah, man, you know what? You should know when out, man. We got this, man. Don't worry, man. We're gonna take it. No. They're gonna be like, hey, you're a professional driver. You're a professional. You need to learn to make good decisions. You get into an accident, you gotta go to court. That's what the judge gonna tell you. You're a professional driver. You knew you shouldn't have been behind that wheel because you're tired. You shouldn't have been behind that wheel. You gotta face the consequences, not the company. So, I used to be that person. Well, any means necessary. I gotta go to the back. I gotta get this back. Go. Nah, man. You gotta be smart, man. A lot of these companies don't care about their employees. All they do is care about themselves. All they do is care about the company. As long as when you leave that gate to go do your deliveries, that's all they worry about. Especially if you do them deliveries, you do it in a safely manner. They can care less if you deplete your 14 hours. Especially if they know that you can deplete your 14 hours, and you know that you gotta leave late. They're just gonna push your dispatch time late. Oh, we'll push it back 3 hours. What time you need us to push it back? Oh, okay, no problem. Oh, yeah. Then there you go. Now the plans that you had, now you gotta cancel because you got back late, and you allowed them to push your dispatch time back further back. Nah, man, I'm sorry. Life is more than just allowing these folks to treat you any kind of way. I'm sorry. You can voice your opinion. It's in the handbook. You're supposed to have a 10-hour reset from the time that you log off. So you're not doing nothing wrong. A 10-hour reset from the time that you log off. Yeah. It's in the handbook. 10-hour reset. 10 hours. I'm supposed to be off 10 hours. So, take your 10 hours. Get your rest. Because when you get out here, you're going to work. You're going to make sure you work. So, and that's all I got to say, man. Y'all stay blessed. Like, subscribe. And like I say, manage your hours wisely. Don't let these folks push you into doing something crazy that's going to cost you in the long run. You got to be smart. Start chasing that dang dollar, man. Because sometimes chasing that dollar is just not good. So, alright. Y'all take it easy, man. Hey, I want y'all to have a blessed Thursday. Positive mindset. Keep your head up. Keep going. Keep thriving. Always, 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 always work on yourself. Think about your purpose. If you have that job, you can't stand it, figure out how you're going to get out. Do not stay there. Talking about you stuck and you can't do it. Do not say. Figure out how you're going to get out of there. Just don't quit. Get that plan together. Put yourself in a good position where when you leave, you don't come back no matter what. All right? I'll take it easy. Peace.